When talking about this, Jacob suddenly became emotional. He observed at Mei Qing's eyes and said emotionally, "Mei Qing, I'm really not joking with you. Every word I say comes from the bottom of my heart. In the past 20 years since you left, I have never been happy. We are all this old. Why can't we put aside those scruples and pursue a real love vigorously?" Mei Qing sighed faintly. "Jacob, I have thought about everything you said, and to be honest, I also have illusions in my heart. It's just that the current situation is really not like before. The third party I hate most in my life. So I don't want to become a third party, so we shouldn't be so anxious about this matter. Give me some time, and I will give you some time." Jacob hurriedly asked, "Are you willing to stay with me after I divorced Elaine?" Mei Qing's big beautiful eyes with a few fine wrinkles observed at Jacob unblinkingly, and said seriously, "Jacob, I admit that one of my big motives for returning to China is to hope to see you again. I hope I can continue with you again." Having said that, she changed the conversation and said, "However, we are not 18 or even 20-year-old youngsters. We have to think carefully about things now. I have no way to answer the question of whether we are willing to be with you. After you are truly single, the two of us have tried to get along for a while, and I will answer your question solemnly." Jacob blurted out without hesitation, I am willing, 10,000 times willing, 1,000,000 times willing." Mei Qing said seriously, "Jacob, I also hope that you will seriously and solemnly consider Elaine, your marriage. Consider whether there is still love between you two. If you still have love, then I will wish you all the same as before. If you do not have love, then you must tell her clearly as early as possible. I still know your character very well. If you are constantly interrupted, you will always be disturbed. Mei Qing is already a complete winner in life, but the only thing she has not won in her life is true love. Therefore, she is obsessed with Jacob. Everyone should have an obsessive object in their heart. If this obsessive object is with him, then his life is happy and his life is fulfilled. But if the obsessive object is not with him together, he will regret for life. Therefore, Mei Qing's return to China this time can be said to be nothing else, just to rediscover the unforgettable love during this period of sunset in life. Jacob couldn't wait to say, "Mei Qing, as long as you don't dislike me and are willing to stay with me, I will definitely divorce Elaine." Mei Qing sighed softly and said, "Whether you and her were intentional or unintentional, or if you were used by others, in the final analysis, you have betrayed our feelings. If you are really willing to make up for it, then of course I am also willing. Give you a chance." Recalling that year, Jacob suddenly stood up and once again hugged Mei Qing face to face. While hugging her tightly, he said, "Mei Qing, I regretted what happened back then for more than 20 years. This time I will never let myself regret it again. You must wait for me." Mei Qing nodded and said softly, "Okay. I'm waiting for you. But you can't hold me like this anymore. What we do now is wrong." Jacob said stubbornly, "Whether it is right or wrong, I just want to hold you now." Mei Qing was struggling in her heart. Want to talk about her feeling of being held in his arms, but she has lived a decent life in her life and cannot accept that she is so close to a married man. So she said in a panic, "Oh, you let me go first, it's not good for us, and I still have to cook." Jacob said, "I have you in my heart, and you also have me in your heart. What's so bad about this?" After speaking, Jacob actually plucked up the courage, lowered his head and wanted to kiss Mei Qing. Mei Qing hurriedly avoided him, and said very solemnly, "Have you talked to yourself for a long time?" As she was talking, a burning smell spread in the kitchen. Mei Qing exclaimed, "Oh, my Longjing shrimp." Having said that, she hurriedly pushed Jacob away, blushing, and ran to the side of the stove, and when she looked into the pot, she let out a mournful cry. It's over, the shrimps are all cooked." Jacob quickly reminded her from the side, "Quickly turn off the fire, or it will burn out soon." Mei Qing hurriedly turned off the gas on the stove. The shrimp that had been burnt in the pot said helplessly, "I blame you, originally this was my best dish, but it's all over now." Jacob was also embarrassed and guilty, and said, "Should I go out and buy you a bag of shrimps again?" At this time, both Charlie and Paul, who were drinking tea outside, could smell the mushy smell spreading out of the kitchen, and Charlie subconsciously said, "Is it not a mess?" Paul frowned and said, "My mother cooks very professionally. It shouldn't happen to her." Charlie stood up and said, "Paul, sit down for a while. I'll go in and take a look. Don't be surprised." Paul hurriedly said, "I will come too." After saying that he was about to get up, Charlie stretched out his hand, pressed him back, and said with a smile, "Sit and drink tea. I'll just go and see it." What Charlie was thinking at this time was, if his mother and father-in-law were doing the firewood in the kitchen at this time, and the two of them were disheveled and forgot what was in the pot, how embarrassing would he be to rush in like this?